Well, welcome again. This is week 5 of our 5-week challenge to eating more plant-based, and I just want to thank you for being here today. Today we are going to crack the shell on healthy fats that come from nuts and seeds. And I'm sure you remember that decade when everything was fat-free. Well, what's really exciting is that with research we have learned that fats are actually good for us for a couple of reasons. One, they help us absorb our fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, but they also are good for our heart. And I know when I talk to my clients about this, they're actually really surprised but excited to hear how healthy fats are for us. And what's also very exciting about fats is we've also learned that it may not be how much fat we eat, although we don't want to eat so much that we get too many extra calories, but more importantly is what kind of fat that we're choosing. One thing that we know for sure too is that the more saturated fat we eat, the greater our risk of cardiovascular disease. And we've seen this with an increase in total cholesterol and especially trans fats, which act very similar to saturated fats, not only increase our bad cholesterol, our LDLs, but also decrease our good cholesterol. So, no bueno is what that equals. All right, so many people ask me, all right, Libby, so how much fat do we actually need? And according to the average macronutrient distribution range, that could be anywhere from 20 to 35% of our calories coming from fat. So what does that really mean? What it means is that let's say a 2,000 calorie diet is kind of the average amount of calories that people eat. And if we eat about 1,814 calories, which I realize these are just a bunch of numbers, but if we eat about that many calories coming from fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, legumes, lean proteins, and healthy fats, that we can meet our nutrient needs. Well, that leaves about 186, if I did the math correctly, about 186 calories left over as our discretionary calories. And these are calories that can come from sugar, but not too much. We don't want too much coming from sugar because we don't get many nutrients that way. But they can also come from things with fat, like let's say chocolate or nuts or seeds. So that's 186 calories that we can pick and choose from to use as we like. And what I'll be making today will be a cashew sauce, which is a monounsaturated fat predominantly. But I'm also going to talk a little bit as we make it about the difference between mono and polyunsaturated fats and how important it is to make sure that these are the fats that you're reaching for, and also that we reach for not just the monounsaturated fats like from the cashews, but predominantly the polyunsaturated fats, specifically the ALAs, which we've talked about before, but those omega-3 fats that come from plants, because these are the types of fats that really seem to have a lot of health benefits for us. All right, so let's get started. You're gonna love, love, love this recipe because it's super simple. I've already soaked my cashews in water, and you can see them here swimming in this water, and I'm just gonna pour it through a sieve so that I can get the water off and transfer the cashews right into the food processor. I'm really lucky that I have a medium-sized food processor. It's kind of one of those things that there's a benefit to having a small, medium, and large food processor. But I've got a medium here, and to the cashews, just add, this recipe calls for about 2/3 cup of water. Got that in there. And I've pre-measured the salt. I personally like an iodized salt because that's one of the few ways that we can get our iodine, and simply blend. I apologize for the noise. Whoops, sorry, I apologize for the noise, but let's go. like the looks of this. So I call this a sauce swap. And I think that's kind of a funny way of looking at it. But basically what we're doing is we're making one cream sauce with our cashews, which are still not blended. It's a little chunky. We'll have to go on a little further. We're substituting these healthy monounsaturated fats from the cashews for, let's say, cream that would otherwise make a creamy sauce. The benefit of this is that, like a tablespoon of cream, I'm just going to let you know, has about 2 tablespoons of cream has about 102 calories, 10 grams of fat, 9 grams of 6.9 grams of saturated fat, and 2.7 grams of monounsaturated fat and a touch of polyunsaturated fat. The important numbers here are calories, 102, total fat, 10 grams, and saturated fat at approximately 7 grams. So that's in the cream. We're going to swap this out for our monounsaturated fat, and you're going to be surprised at what savings we're going to get here. So pardon. I like the size of this food processor, but the sound to me is absolutely piercing. All right, let's take a look at this beautiful sauce. Ooh, still a little chunky. I would go a little bit longer, but it is definitely sauceable, and I can add it to, I can top off some broccoli, I can add some lemon to this, add some spices. My favorite blends I have found at the farmer's market happen to be a Jamaican curry, but any spices can go in here to make this what you want. It can even go on the sweeter side with a touch of lemon and maybe a squeeze of honey if you wanted to drizzle this over, let's say, a pound cake or maybe some ice cream or something along those lines. All right, proof is somewhat in the numbers. We're going to get to that, but I definitely want to give this a taste and let you know what it's like. So hang on. Yes, a very, very fun, creamy sauce that you can use on a lot of different things. If you're just wondering, these are those sweet peppers you get at the store. I've sliced them up. I'm going to stuff them a little bit later so that will be a lot of fun. All right. Putting this in perspective, as I mentioned, it is a sauce swap. Our heavy cream, 2 tablespoons, would give us 102 calories, 10 grams of fat, and about 7 grams of saturated fat. This sauce, for 2 tablespoons, only gives us 3.5 grams of total fat. What a savings there. Only 0.6 grams of saturated fat, and that's the biggie. That's the one that's going to save our heart right there. But we're also getting about 2 grams of monounsaturated fat and a touch of polyunsaturated fat. So this sauce is kind of a cool addition that you can play with different flavors. Let me show you a couple other things because I want to highlight some of the important monounsaturated fats that we often think of. Of course, we've got olive oil. We think of that all the time as monounsaturated. Also monounsaturated would include like almonds, olives themselves, avocado, cashews, and peanuts. And what's great about monounsaturated fats is they will lower our LDL, our bad cholesterol, and in different circumstances affect our good cholesterol. So when they're used to replace saturated fat, they can actually lower total cholesterol by lowering the LDLs. But when they're used to replace carbohydrates, they can lower not only triglycerides, but also increase our HDL. All of this has an impact on our total cholesterol and improves either our ratio or our actual total cholesterol numbers. So thumbs up. Now, the important ones that are really key are polyunsaturated fats, which will include, I'm going to highlight the ones with alpha linolenic acid, the walnuts, the chia seeds, and I've got a great recipe that I'm going to share with you a little bit later with chia seed, and flaxseed. These are 3 nuts, seeds that you can choose and incorporate into your regular eating, whether you're sprinkling them on salads, blending them into a butter, perhaps adding them to a smoothie or yogurt. Using these polyunsaturated fats can again have a profound impact on our blood pressure. They've linked research to showing that you have improved insulin resistance, for example, and can also improve our total cholesterol numbers by, again, lowering our LDL. So pretty cool stuff. I just want to leave you with 5 ways that you can incorporate nuts and seeds into your everyday eating. Starting with the sauce swap. Of course, you can make a sauce. It could be cashews, it could be almonds, it could be peanuts, of course. You know, any kind of nut or seed can be blended this way. Let's see, that was number 1. Number 2, you can blend these nuts into your own butter. How cool would pistachio butter or even pumpkin seed butter be? And then finally, you could eat them whole, of course, and you could crush them for adding to salads or maybe more liquidy sauces, incorporating them into a rice or whole grain pilaf. And finally, you can crush them into a powder, perhaps even buy them as a powder. In that form, however, you don't really get the fat, but you do get the protein. So just one more way to enjoy nuts. Anyway, so glad that you could join me today and hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the Dig In, Eat Up community.